Special guest and wonderful friend, Miss Angela Gregg. Hi everyone, my name's Angela and I want to just talk a little bit about myself, which I find quite boring, but I will give you a brief introduction. I was born with clairvoyance, or what you would call insight. It wasn't something that I just woke up one day and thought I would like to develop or, know more about. I was kind of given no choice. And it was interesting, to say the least, because a child born with, clairvoyance or consciousness is exposed to all kinds of things and different dimensions, and that's what I was exposed to as a very young child, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I didn't really have any guidance at the time, or people to say, look, this is happening to you and this isn't. At first I just thought that we all kind of were resonating at the same conscious level. And then when I worked out that not everyone was coming from that space, I guess it made me feel quite separate and alone in many ways. And the things that I was experiencing were, quite scary at times. And all the other things were just very natural to me, just a knowing, just a consciousness of knowing. And, I don't know any other way of life. I kind of always feel like I'm caught in between two worlds. That's how I live every day. I don't really have a choice. So, as a teenager, I did rebel against it. I didn't want it. I had my war with God, so to speak, many times. And the more I rebelled against it and went, I guess, against what I was meant to do, what I believe, what I was meant to do here, I was often very challenged, either with my health or life in general wouldn't go well until I steered back on my path. And today I have embraced what I have. I don't know if I can call it a gift because, I say quite often it's my greatest gift and my worst curse, so to speak. So it does have its challenges, and like I said, growing up, I was exposed to different dimensional realms that I know now very much exist. It's been my experience, so my beliefs are based on my experiences, not based on, I guess, a chosen belief. And so I've come to realise that we are part of a very multi-dimensional type of tapestry. And I've also come to believe that the universe has different dimensions based on our different levels of consciousness. And I do believe also that we come from different realms from the universe. So, for example, how many of you can say that you resonate to a certain, whether it's the angelic realm, whether it's, a lot of people might be interested in extraterrestrial type of dimensions out there, and so I believe that here on Earth we're all having this human experience, but we're very much spiritual beings, and I believe that we are all psychic because we all have a soul. Whether we want to develop that further is really a conscious choice. I'm not saying that we're all at the same level of a clairvoyant ability, but we are all psychic. Each and every one of us has intuition. and we can further develop that, especially with the frequency in 2012. It's quite high. So anyone coming in today wanting to develop that will be working with a very fast frequency. So your psychic and spiritual development will very much quicken. I don't know, how many of you understand the concept of manifestation. Anyone wanting to manifest, now it's a great time to, very, very much so. So with you being interested in the paranormal side of things, do you use a form of protection? Can I ask a question? Like, yeah? 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 Does anyone want to talk about what works for them?
We use crystals.
Yeah, crystals?
Yeah, crystals and
sure.
we have a same affirmation.
Yes. Yes. Does the affirmation have anything to do with Archangel Michael?
One of them does.
One of them? Yeah.
We also used to use the Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
Karen always has crystals on her all the time.
Yeah.
Crystals and rosaries and cross stone.
Yeah. Because, like I said, we're just exposed to so many different dimensional levels, and within the levels are certain, entities, I believe, that aren't always coming from the light. The dark very much exists on the other side, just like the light does, because we are a part of a polar world, polar universe. The good has to exist, in order for the dark to, and vice versa, as you know. So someone like myself, I find it very hard to go into certain dwellings, especially if I know that, it's a possibility of demonic or a sinister force. I'll tend to just stay away if I feel compelled to. But the reason I asked if anyone used Archangel Michael is that I believe that he is the strongest archangel to provide that form of protection. And with angels, we have to invoke them. And that's for us to have help in anything, basically, whether it's, if we want them to help us along our life path, or we want them to help us with protection, or in order to help us with healing, we would, resonate more towards Archangel Raphael. Uriel, the other archangel, is stronger with, anything to do with our emotional healing, or if we're going through an emotional problem. Gabriel's very good for creativity, inspiration, communication. And Archangel Michael is the strongest for protection and for any sense of injustice, justice. And Archangel Michael's also strong in helping us with our relationships, and especially marriage as well. With the angelic realm, from what I understand of it, is that there is a hierarchy within that realm, and then underneath the archangels you have the offset angels, such as the seraphims and the cherubims, and from what I've sensed, the angelic realm is very different to the other levels and other dimensions out there. Every dimension, it's interesting because has its own vibration, has its own colour, sound. It kind of resonates. I don't know. It's very hard to explain it. Has anyone else experienced other dimensions? I'll just be the only Fruit Loop of it. So with my work now, after many years of rebelling against it, I did become a nurse because I always felt compelled to help, and I had profound and very special experiences in my nursing career. It was a great time looking back, and it taught me a lot. spiritually speaking, through the experiences of, many people either, were dying or had just crossed over. And once I did realise that this is what I wanted, well, I didn't really wake up one day and say, I want to do this full time. It kind of just happened. And one reading led to another, and then it just became a demand, I guess. But with that came a lot of pressure as well, because I believe that clairvoyance, whether it's a mediumship type of clairvoyance or any form, anyone working from that kind of area has a great sense of responsibility. And as you know, psychics don't all have the best reputation. There are many charlatans around. Has anyone experienced having a psychic reading with someone that isn't genuine?
I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I say that, I hear some horror stories. Sometimes I have people come to me saying, oh, this last clairvoyant I went to, or this psychic I went to said that, such and such is going to die and this is going to happen. And, as far as I know, we're not given that information. And I certainly don't want to know it. And when I do get asked anything like that, I get shown a photo, is he going to die soon, is she going to die soon? And I'll just go, I don't know. Well, it's not that I don't know, I don't believe that we can play God. And it's not about that. I believe that readings should be about guidance, more so as well. Not just about, I say to people, I'm not a fortune teller. And if I knew the crossover numbers, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you doing this.
You'd be $70 million richer.
Yeah, because I know we have life lessons to learn in our incarnation. And I wasn't always sure about reincarnation, but now I'm very sure. And I'm also sure that we've all come here to learn. And if we look at the earth as one big school of learning, and we're at all different levels of consciousness, that's really the way it is on the other side. And when we cross over, we are void of our human body, but we remain very much alive in consciousness, very much. But we go to the level of our consciousness. So, for example, when we cross over, and if we know we're in year 8, we're not going to walk into a year 12 classroom. We're going to knowingly go. Are any of you aware of the astral level? The level in between this one and the heaven sequence? There's an astral plane. And on this plane are many, many, many different dimensions. And say, for example, we have people that have possibly suicided and haven't wanted to fulfill their sacred contract here. There's a level there. The astral level also has spirits that have died in shock and haven't had a chance to develop any form of spiritual consciousness while I've been here. And so they're soul shocked. On the astral plane, there are entities that have crossed over, being very fixed to the physical plane, not wanting to let go of anything material, because it's all they've known. And so they're refusing to go anywhere else. They still feel they're a part of the physical plane. And they're quite often spirits that can become nuisances. The ones that tend to just cause havoc in a dwelling for no real reason. They're normally ones that are very attached to the physical plane, but also attached to possibly, their home or anything like that. And on the astral level, also people that have crossed over and, haven't done the right thing. When I say the right thing, I mean the most gracious life, whether they've been criminals, murderers. They also have their, dimension on that astral level. And in the universe, I feel it's got something to do with that black hole. That's where I feel that black hole, all those different dimensions of consciousness lies in there. But our universe apparently is very small. Well, we think it's very small compared to what it is. Apparently it's a lot bigger. And so with my work, I have had to build up my strength in the light, very, very much so, knowing that the darker entities do exist. I've witnessed it and I've felt it, and it's not nice at all. So I work very much with the angelic realm and what I call God, but you guys might call it the divine, the universe. It really just, you know, I work with a higher power. I don't believe God is a man condemning us all. You know, grew up, I think what really screwed me up was growing up, you know, Catholic. It's like, oh, this does not go good with me. I remember sitting in Sunday school looking at the teachers, just having a knowing that that's not true, that wasn't right. It was like, So, based on my experiences and based on me embracing my clairvoyant ability, I now use it, and I'm very conscious of using it with the highest spiritual integrity I can, and to, you know, help the individual as much as I can. And there's different forms of clairvoyance, and I just want to briefly go through some of the clairvoyant definitions. Clairvoyance definition is the art of seeing through the third eye, or the sixth chakra, which is our sixth energy point in our body. And it's often called the sixth sense, as you know. To see things beyond the range of the power of vision, to see without the use of the known senses. Clairvoyance is the psychic ability to receive messages from the other realms through the imagery that is already present in your mind, an ability to receive information regardless of time or distance, a sense that we are all born with, but over time some may forget. So clairvoyance can be divided firstly into these categories. Voluntary clairvoyance freely occurs when the individual is in control of this sense and able to access information through it when they choose. So if I'm going to do a reading, I'm going to go into voluntary clairvoyance. Involuntary clairvoyance occurs when the individual has no control of the sense and receives information when it is given. And that can be quite scary for people at times, and I know throughout my experience of dealing with many people, they might talk to me and say, you know, just something switched on and it won't switch off, and I don't know what to do with it, because unless they're really aware of what it is, and I've had, you know, businessmen say it to me, or men that were your blokes with a mentality that, you know, wasn't too open-minded, and when it happens to them it can really freak them out. Clairsentience is ESP manifesting through touch and feelings. This is a common form of clairvoyance, and it's also known as psychic, and that's what each and every one of us have. We have a sense of intuition. Whether we want to be aware of it or not, we do. We're all intuitive beings. And like I said, each and every one of you can develop it if you were to choose to. Clairaudience is the ESP of sound vibration and some information that is not normally audible. It is information below our threshold for perception. Has anyone had a clairaudient experience? Yeah, it's quite profound. It just, I don't know, to me it's like the part of my ear opens and something gets very echoey. It's not, I don't know about anyone else, but it's not like, you know, I'm listening to one of you speak to me. It's something really bizarre. clairalience is the Esp of smell. It is the interplay between smell and a subtle form of taste. Has anyone had a clairalience experience? Yeah, sometimes, like, especially after people have passed away, they talk about, you know, Dad coming by with the waft of the aftershave he'd normally wear, or if Grandma liked lavender, they'd often say they'd smell lavender. Sometimes I do readings and I'll smell cigarette smoke and say blah blah blah, would have smoked, or it's and clairgustance. And I'm really glad I don't think I've had this one. Clairgustance is the Esp of Taste and is derived from our stomach, the feeling of being nervous and an upset stomach. I mean, we all get nervous and upset stomachs, but I wouldn't want to taste that clairgustance. Claircognizance, this is an interesting one, is the Esp of Simply Knowing. It means you have this sense of something but no knowledge in any sense as you know it. And that's a really profound experience, their claircognizance, because it's like, and it happens to me when I'm doing readings, like I'll ask a question or I'll say blah, and whether they say yes or no, you just have this knowing that it's true. It's just this knowing, regardless of what they're going to say. It's an inner knowing. Mediumship. All of you are aware of mediums? A medium is someone who serves as an intermediary between the living and the dead. I can never say that word. A medium is a psychic who was born attuned to be able to see, hear or sense the vibrations and energy of those from other realms of existence. These may be loved ones who have crossed over, as well as beings of the spiritual realm like angels, spirit guides or spirit. Mediumships have the ability to hear, sense and experience the realms of outer spiritual existence. It is receiving contact from people who have crossed over, loved ones who make their presence known to the medium. Mediums may be shown what the contactees look like, may give and receive names, events or places that would confirm their presence. Mediums may be given messages for the person who has asked for contact. Channeling is another name that is used for mediumship communication. And it's interesting with the mediumship side of things. It's like all of those other senses come into play and you just don't know which one is going to go off. So for example, I'll do a reading and I'll be feeling and I'll be seeing something and I'll hear something and it's all kind of going off. Then oh bang, someone comes through, oh Grandma passed on, her name's Mary, blah blah blah, and it's all kind of happening at once and you don't know, but you're just a part of all the senses. And so it's hard work doing readings, because when I say it's hard work, you're kind of using senses that you don't normally, but you're trying to keep up with one sense to the other and then trying to, I guess, explain it or bring it across in a way that makes sense. Does that make sense? Has anyone had a reading with me here? You see people say things, I'm a Fruit Loop because I look here, I look there, I look there. And it's not because, you know, probably am a Fruit Loop, but it's more so because I'm trying to catch the information as it's coming in. So I briefly explained before about clairvoyance and mediumship. There are various tools used to enhance the ability. Everyone's aware, I guess most people are aware of tarot cards, and that's a very common tool used. I can honestly say it would take a lifetime to master a deck of tarot cards. They're extremely complex. I got my first deck when I was 16 years old, and I'm really old now, so it's a lot of years of experience and I'm still learning. The ones that I like to use are the traditional Rider-Waite. I know there are millions of different types of tarot, but I like to use the traditional Rider-Waite. And some of their images can be a little bit daunting, like I've had people go, oh, you know, what does that devil card mean? Or the death card. And people get scared, and I say, no, I get excited, it's change. Something's changing that obviously has to. So their images can be a bit misguiding, because we need to look beyond the appearance. Every card has so much to it. There are different meanings to different cards, and it's up to the tarot interpreter to form like a story and to put it together, because images alone aren't really enough to go by. But you know, I could be looking at a tarot card, but then while I'm looking at this, it's got no relevance to them buying a new car, but that'll just come through to do. So it's using all your kind of senses at once. But tarot, generally I like to use them halfway through a reading. When I first do a reading, I'll do a psychic reading. I'll go into the auric field with that person's permission, of course. I'm not intrusive, and a lot of people have a misconception. They think that I can walk down the road and I know about that person. I'm not interested. I've got a life too to lead, and you know, it's something that I'm battling my own lessons and challenges in the human experience on a personal level. So, for example, I don't intrude into people unless they have specifically come and asked for a reading. I will read their auric field and tune in to what's around them, people around them, their life, and then parts of their life, I should say. And then halfway through, I like them to shuffle the tarot, and I get sometimes a clearer indication, more into future events, and they're quite good for confirming what I've already picked up on a psychic level. The tarot usually confirms it and puts it together, is the tarot. So if you would like to be a volunteer.
Don't be shy.
Marianne? Nearly lost the deck. Which one did you get? You got straight. Okay, this is what we call one of the major arcanas. In a tarot deck there are 76 cards. 23? Two. Thank you. 22 of them are made up of what we call the major arcana, which is strength. Hanged Man is another one. Major arcana has got to do with life lessons, karmic lessons. For example, if we're going through a really big obstacle in life, you know, I just can't get a job, it's been months and months and months, I can't get a job, there might be some karmic lessons involved. So the major arcana is saying unless that individual gets through that lesson or becomes aware of what he or she needs to learn, they won't get over that block. Also has to do with things that are more fated, I guess, things we can't escape, we don't have a choice. The minor arcanas are made up into 4 different suits. We've got swords that usually represents strength. It can represent conflict. Cups, emotion, things of the past, nostalgia. Cups have got to do with emotions. Pentacles, which is another suit, has got to do with all things material and financial. And the pentacles look like that. So we've got the 8 of Pentacles. I'm going to get to you in a minute, Marianne, too, by the way. I've got your card here. Just going through the suits. And the Pentacles is another suit that relate to finances, like I said, and material issues here on Earth. And then the other suit is the Wands, which has got to do with action, creativity, growth, each suit relates to, I can't find the wands, well there's the Queen of Wands. So Queen of Wands would relate to a fire sign female, Sagittarius, Leo, or an Aries female would be the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Swords would be an air sign female, Gemini, Libra or Aquarius. And then the Pentacles, we've got Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, and what am I missing? Water, the Cups. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. So they're broken up into, and so with the, getting back to the minor arcanas, basically when they come out in a spread, we know that we've got choices, and it's simply by making different choices we're going to get different results because of our free will here on earth. We are masters of our destiny, most definitely. We're not in control of our fate, but we're certainly in control of our destiny purely by the choices that we make, purely by our free will. So Marianne, you got a major arcana, strength. So it tells me that you've had to be strong for a long time, and you've had quite a few obstacles, but it's also telling me to still draw on your inner strength. And you're very, very sensitive. You're very sensitive, but it's not your weakness. It's definitely can be your strength. And you've had to be strong. Someone been sick around you lately?
No, I don't know.
Okay. I feel someone's going through some kind of possibly emotional problem. If it's not a physical health problem, it's definitely something to do with emotional, psychological, and that's kind of possibly been challenging you. Can you relate?
Mm.
Yeah. And so you've got another 8 weeks of you needing to draw on that strength. August last year through to now, has it been like one thing after another?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of things just aren't in your control, and I feel that you're okay generally, but it's people around you, and you've got to be careful that you don't get zapped of your strength, because it can be draining. You're there for a lot of people. It's almost like I feel they come to you, and you've got the answers for them, but you hold a lot in. You don't reveal your own emotion because you don't want them to then worry about you.
Yeah, I do that a lot, holding care.
And that's got to do with your deservability issue too, because you feel they're more deserving of help than you are. So maybe look at building that part of yourself up. Yeah? Okay. So that was just one card and a demonstration for tarot. So now I want to talk a little bit about colour. And purely by a colour that somebody chooses, it can tell me a lot about what's going on. Colour has a vibration, and our moods and our psychological well-being on a day-to-day level is affected by colour. Does everyone kind of resonate with that? Yeah? So we're going to do a demonstration. So I need a volunteer, please.
Hold on.
Who?
Me. We've got to do something.
Okay. So, what colour?
Yellow.
Yellow. Okay. You're ready for a new beginning. You want, things have felt stagnant around you for a while. You want to bring in something new. You're about to embark on a either a new project, or you've been thinking about a new idea. Got some new people in your life. You've met either some new people or you're going to be making some new friends. There's a new beginning around you and something significant in September. So keep September in mind. Springtime. And I feel like you're working on a project. Can you relate to this?
Oh, big project.
Okay. Okay. Something in September is going to be very positive for you. I feel it's some kind of communication. And did you purchase, or are you wanting to purchase some new equipment for something?
Just purchased a whole heap of new tools and house. And
So you got life's getting better. It's like your outlook has changed as well. Parts of you, opening up more. Maybe you're coming into different aspects of yourself, and maybe liking yourself that little bit more too. I just felt that's all right.
No, you
We
are
can all
spot
relate.
on.
Thank you.
I can
Thank you.
everything
He wasn't
she
giving
said.
anything away.
No, everything you said
Appreciate
was
it.
like, I know exactly what she's talking about.
Women do.
that's why men have got no say anymore.
Okay, so anyone want to volunteer on a colour?
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to go to Karen and then I will come to you too. But this is going to be a bit different because I want you to have a look at these colours and tell me the one that you least are attracted to. Least. And it's interesting because we'll all have one that will go, ew, can't, not today. You know, every other day, blue might be fine, but not today. But which one are you least attracted to?
Probably orange, least.
Orange? And that's interesting. The one we're least attracted to tells us about our blocks. Okay? It's about what we're blocking. Orange? Are we all aware of chakras here? So chakras are our energy points in our body. There are 7 colours that relate to each energy point. And they kind of appear to look like that. Each colour represents a vibration, an emotional vibration within us. And orange, Karen, has got to do with our sacral chakra. It's our second one. There's a block here. It's about our creativity, okay? And for females, it relates to the reproductive organs, but it also relates to our creativity. So, for example, you know, maybe you've been feeling a bit stifled in what you've wanted to create. You know, do you ever get a creative urge, but you think, I don't really know how to harness it or how to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you kind of let it go, but something's urging you. It's also urging you to give birth. Okay, so either a child or a project giving birth to something new, but there's a part of your creativity in orange that is blocked. So you can enhance it by wearing a bit of orange, having a bit of orange around you, embracing orange. Also, when you do you balance your chakras?
No, I haven't yet. There's a lot of healing
Yep.
that I'm aware I need to do
Yep.
with
That's okay, like
with
most
crystals
of us.
and all that kind of stuff. And
Okay.
probably a chakra healing, a cleansing would be good.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know
And
I've meant to
one
use
way
carnelian.
of doing that is by visualising the orange coming up into your womb area and visualise it going clockwise, in a clockwise motion, and the colour of orange to get that stimulated again. I need a volunteer. Yeah? Okay. I'd like you to just put your hand in and choose a crystal based on your feel, not by visually seeing it. Okay? Okay. Has anyone seen a snowflake obsidian? Snowflake obsidian. quite a strong stone. We have a snowflake obsidian. It's a good idea to have a clear quartz either next to it or across of it. Snowflake obsidian, it's quite a complex kind of gemstone energy because it has a dual type of effect. The obsidian is especially good to ward off negativity, and the snowflake, part of it has to do with, I guess, how you're being affected. So it's not so much what the snowflake obsidian means. I'm doing a reading for you based on that. And I would say that other people's negativity can affect you. That, are you aware that maybe you need to either do some more protection or be in a more positive frame of mind for yourself? Because I feel that you can get quite down at times, especially by other people's bullshit, if that makes sense. And so it's about keeping yourself more positive, yeah, and having a more positive frame of mind, because I feel you can get quite down. You really don't value yourself enough because you doubt yourself too much.
Yeah, that's very.
From a young age.
Yes.
And 12 years old is very significant for you.
Yes.
Yes. You're opening up. I feel you want to know more about different, metaphysical areas in life. You're starting to get curious. You have a very high intuition. And someone around you has a birthday, is that correct?
Oh, my brother and my dad actually.
Yeah. So you've got birthdays around you, so a time to feel positive. Yeah. Is August significant in some way?
That's when my mum's birthday is. Yeah.
You have a pet? You have,
Oh, yeah, we have a pet, but I'm guessing I have been around that time. Oh, we have puppies coming in.
yeah, I see a pet or pets around you.
Yeah.
Just be aware that you might need some protection. Okay? Because that's what this stone's telling you. But I don't mean so much protection against, anything evil or dark. It's more other people. Yeah. Okay? I wanted to talk about numerology briefly. Is everyone aware of numerology? Numbers have a vibration and we all have numerology based on our date of birth. Okay? So, does anyone want to volunteer their date? Not necessarily their year, just their day. Yes?
Me?
Yes, you.
9th of May.
9th, okay. So,
That's
Last week.
last week.
birthday. Okay. Number 9s are gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're humanitarians. You care a lot about people. That's what it tells me about you. When you were younger, you were more rebellious. You like to go on that daring side type of thing. Break some rules and why not, just for the thrill of it. The number 9s can be rebels. They can either be too rebellious and not take enough responsibility or take on everybody else's responsibilities. There can be that imbalance, but as a rule, the number 9s care a lot about people, are often in community work or work that involves, nursing or anything to do with counselling or just helping people. You love pets, you love animals, and I feel you have this real passion, either to save some stray animals along the way or to make a difference for an animal in some way. And I feel you've been part of nature from a very, very young age, like you've you're at your best and you're at yourself when you're in amongst a natural environment with animals around you. And I feel you have, and you tell me if I'm not right here, you have a natural ability to kind of communicate with them, if that makes sense, or understand how they're feeling. It's telepathic. Yeah. And so the number of when we're born tells us a lot. Is there anyone that wants to volunteer a double-digit number?
Yeah. 16.
Okay, 16. I know that number well. I gave birth to a number 16 girl. Still does me no. Well, I really think so. So when we have a double digit, there's more of a complexity, in a way, in our personality. But when I say complexity, I'm saying that in a good way, of course. It's you're an evolved soul. You're an evolved soul. We're all old souls, by the way, but we're at different levels of consciousness in our spiritual evolution. Okay, so if we take the number 1, and by the way, each number vibration has a lower vibration to it and a higher one. And so we tend to, when we're younger, go from that lower vibration until we gain understanding. And so the lower vibration of the 1 is kind of feeling alone, not always feeling supported and feeling like, why does everyone else have great things and I've got shit in my life, things like that. But the higher vibration of the number 1 is empowerment, independence, self-confidence. So it's definitely traits that if you're lacking something that would really help you improve that quality of that number, because it's a very, very strong number. It's a leadership number. And you're a pioneer. You could lead people into, areas just by either just helping them, want more for themselves, but it definitely has leadership qualities. And so developing your own sense of self, feeling better about yourself, being confident will help you a lot with the number 1. And the number 6 is all about love and harmony. So you're a peacemaker and you prefer to not have a lot of conflicts around you or not see it. Number 6 has a love for their family, generally speaking, or need to feel loved in some way. Very compassionate, very empathic number, the number 6. Also is linked with intuition. When you add it up, it equals a 7. So all things esoteric would attract you. You'd be attracted to different, parts of the metaphysical worlds, and hence why you're here today, no doubt. Soak up knowledge like a sponge, but you want to find out things, because the 7s are here to learn about, different areas of that mainstream learning. You like to go off the beaten track. There's, you're not eccentric, but you're unique. There's
You can say weird, it's fine.
I can relate to this number so much. It's spiritual, okay? So the 7 is spiritual as well. Okay, so we're all probably aware of pendulums and what pendulums are. I'll just get one out. Pendulums are used for various different reasons. They're like, what's the word I'm going to use? It's like a tool used to measure an energy, but also it can assist you in finding out things that are right or wrong, a yes or no answer. By the way, it swings. Has anyone used a pendulum here? Yeah, you're right. But it's also used and I use this a lot when I do my healings, to tell me where people have got the problem, because the pendulum will usually just swing by itself, and it's an area like I might be over a knee and I'll say, have you got a problem with that? Oh yeah, I had an accident 20 years ago and it's still not right, or something like that. But the pendulum will detect, generally speaking, a person's physical well-being. Oh well, you know, it's like, you might be pregnant. Do you think you might be? Just a little. Okay. Alright, so what I generally do with the pendulum, because if I was just doing a healing, what I normally do without the pendulum is just put hands with permission on is it Sarah's shoulders, and I would balance her chakras, and I would also pick up what her healing guides are wanting her to have, or what she could be more aware of what needs healing. But we're doing the pendulum tonight. So I'm just going to scan your body, and usually it stays at about there because I feel like a magnetic pull where it won't go closer. So it's just staying around your auric field. On this side, haven't you? You've been having some weird dreams lately.
Super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A bit mumble jumbled.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you having to move soon? Did you just go through a move?
Yeah, just went through a move.
Yeah. You're not quite feeling yourself. No, you're good, but
Yeah.
you're not quite feeling yourself, as in, not physically speaking, more emotional. And you're just anticipating the change. Yeah, it's just change.
Yeah.
And at times it can be scary, but it's only change. Sarah, you are in really, really, really good health. Really good health. Thank you. Yes. Anyone else that might not be in good health? So now I'm going to do what's called a mediumship demonstration. But rather than have somebody volunteer, I'm just going to maybe get a feel of the energies around and then take it from there. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. I need to go to you, I think. Okay, because it's around this region. I'm picking up a spirit that would have passed on very young and possibly in an accident of some kind. Is this for you?
Yep.
Okay. Was it on the road, firstly?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Did it involve a car? Because the first thing I got was a bike, but then I got a car as well.
Yeah.
So did your friend have an accident with a car?
Yeah.
Was he on a bike? He was in the car?
I had a friend who died on the bike, who got hit by a car.
Okay. I'll come back to you in a minute.
Sure.
Because I feel like I kind of, want to tune into that too. All right. So it's your friend, male?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Was he around 21 years old?
No.
Younger? Okay. 21. Would he have been 21 today? 21's got to be somewhere.
21 recently.
Yeah? Okay. So he was 19 when he passed?
No.
Younger? How old were you?
I was about 13 or 14.
How old was he? Was he 17?
He was about 12.
Oh, he was 12. I'm getting someone up. Okay. How old was...
My cousin was 21 years.
Sorry, I will come back. did not get, did not pick up the young one, 21. Yeah, no, okay. When he passed away, was he in a remote place, like out on the outskirts of something?
He was, yeah, it would have been.
Okay. Do you know if there was a bend in the road? You're just coming onto a bend.
I think it was.
Okay. Did you go to school?
I went to the same high school that he went to.
Same high school? And he has a brother and a sister. Do you know them? Because I feel like there's a connection. He's saying about a brother and a sister. I feel picking up the initial J. So who has the initial J that both of you know? There's a big J, so I've got to work out where this is coming from. I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
And I also feel that he passed away very close to somebody's birthday, either side of a birthday. There was a significant event around his passing.
Would have been close when his younger sister
Yeah.
would have been born close.
Yeah. There was something significant around his passing. His parents have broken up because I feel like he was often caught between
At
the
a young age, it was.
parents and I feel he was quite a sensitive person but didn't always want to show it. Very heavily into music. So did he also play?
He played.
He played because I can hear some heavy stuff. I can hear some heavy stuff. He didn't like to reveal too much about his feelings. There was a lot of speculation, I believe, around his death too.
Yeah.
There was he was different in the sense that he kind of didn't want to be part of a group just to be popular. He would stand back, do his own thing. Yeah. Somebody after he passed also, is this correct? Because I'm getting a feeling like someone crossed over after him.
Could have been a younger, unborn child.
Yeah, okay. Because I feel like, okay. Was it a male? He really loved his dog.
Yeah, I believe he had a pet, yes.
He's over there too. Okay, all right. With yours, I haven't connected to him. Not yet. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Yes.
His mum's name was Jackie, so that's where the J would be.
That's where the J, because it was a big J. So, yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes, and it happens to me too, you know, we can't relate to something. It happens in readings all the time. And I used to get annoyed until I had a reading and I did it. And now I'm more forgiving. Because quite often people go, no, and then they'll either ring me later or go, oh my God, I remembered, you know. And I just get frustrated with that. But I have a reading and the same thing.
So tell me, what
Yes.
happens when you have a reading?
Oh, it's shocking. I find it very hard to get a good reading. Very, very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've probably had 2 in my whole life. Good reading.
I've had 1,
Okay.
and they've been pretty accurate.
Good. Good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't get them often. I'm really overdue for one now. So hanging to get one. Yeah. Okay. It concludes the evening. Thank you all for
appreciation for Angela on behalf of all of us of SA Paranormal. Just a token of our appreciation for you coming this evening and sharing the demonstrations with us. Thank you very much. There's a crystal bracelet there for you too.
Handmade at that.
Handmade.
Thank you so much.
That's quite alright.